I mean, he works his ass off. The guy can fight. He's a world champion, but just because you can fight and just because, like, it doesn't really mean, like, doesn't make you like a man, And there's these moments when, like, you see kind of like past, hey, I could fight. He works his ass off, like Costa. It just.
So after Sean Strickland went completely public with his campaign, relentlessly calling out and pushing for a fight against Khamzat Chimaev, how did Khamzat respond? He stayed away from any massive social media war. Instead, he did something way more telling. Training footage dropped almost instantly, showing him absolutely grinding in the gym, pushing every limit imaginable. This obviously sparked all kinds of speculation about a potential blockbuster matchup brewing behind the scenes. Zero trash talk or verbal warfare came from Khamzat's camp. He just went straight into fight mode, preparing like this massive confrontation wasn't just a possibility, but practically a done deal. That kind of silent determination says everything you need to know.
With Sean Strickland, he's been saying some stuff in interviews about, he just didn't like your approach. Just why do you think he's saying that, and do you have a response?
I don't know. When I was there, they never said anything, When I leave the Vegas and when they stop my visa, they start to talk. When I come back, I'm in LA, bro. Come on. If it's something personal for you, just come. I'm here whenever you want.
Here's how Khamzat typically handles Sean's constant provocations and challenges, including calling him weak. Not happening. Khamzat shot back with a straightforward proposition. He told Strickland to just wait it out until his complex visa issues get resolved, and then they'll have their real conversation, but not with words, through their fists. Right inside the cage, exactly how two elite warriors should settle things.
Sean Strickland next. Guys, there's no debate. I had 24 hours to think about this. Because here's what I don't want to do. I got to tell you, as an authority figure in this sport, I don't want to pan Chimaev. I don't want to do that. I respect him. I respect what he's done. I respect his patience. But Sean Strickland fought him in head-to-head competition. Now, a couple of things came out. I am behind the scenes, and I can tell you, guys tiptoe around Chimaev. Guys are scared of Chimaev. He has a presence. Sean Strickland said, man, I used to be in the gym with this guy. He's a punk. Ask the people that were there. Sean Strickland said, when I come into a gym, I go find the biggest, baddest dude, and that's who I spar with. When Chimaev comes in the gym, he finds the easiest opponent.
He even revealed spending a full day seriously thinking it through, ensuring he wouldn't accidentally serve anyone's personal agenda or hidden motives. Sonnen also discussed the fascinating way other fighters react when Khamzat's in the building. He mentioned Khamzat has this undeniable, almost magnetic presence that demands attention. He also brought up some compelling previous comments from Sean Strickland himself about their training sessions together. Sean had openly claimed that during gym time, he always hunted down the toughest opponents, constantly seeking the most brutal sparring, while describing Khamzat as someone who preferred easier rounds. This represented a direct shot at Khamzat's supposed toughness, coming from someone known for his relentless fighting spirit.
You're disrespecting everything that Fluffy Hernandez did. Fluffy Hernandez beat 9 men in a row. If Fluffy Hernandez beat Sean Strickland, that would be 10 in a row. 10 is the biggest number in the history of the UFC that anybody's had to do to get a title shot, and that distinction belongs to Merab. But to remind you, Merab was offered a title fight after 7. So the point that I'm making, if Fluffy Hernandez would have won and he would have gotten a title, we're being very disrespectful to the 9 men that Fluffy beat. We're being very disrespectful to the opportunity that Fluffy should have had. And when you play this game, it's the ultimate poker hand. You're all in. Whatever you got is on the line. You got a belt, it's on the line. It doesn't matter if you're undefeated and this guy's lost 5 fights. It doesn't matter if you're ranked number 1 and he's ranked number 8. When you get in there, it's all on the line, winner take all. Sean Strickland took it. Sean Strickland
corners him and beats him senseless. But Chael Sonnen wasn't finished speaking. He also addressed the bigger picture, the serious consequences tied to this specific fight. Chael emphasized that when you examine a fighter's journey, someone who has put in the work, accepted the risks, and won the crucial battles, you're not just overlooking that individual warrior. What you're actually doing is accidentally disrespecting every opponent they beat, every obstacle they had to overcome to reach that position. He referenced the remarkable example of long winning streaks in the UFC, demonstrating just how incredibly difficult and rare it is in this brutal sport to string together so many victories in a row. His message was crystal clear and compelling: when a fighter steps into a main event, puts something truly valuable on the line, and emerges victorious, that victory absolutely has to mean something real. In this situation, Sean Strickland won his last fight. He put everything on the line. And because of that undeniable performance, Chael strongly believes that Sean rightfully deserves and honestly should get to face.
Now, I do want to say, I was with Khamzat last week on the Jackson podcast, and Khamzat Chimaev told me that he is 240 pounds, right? What do you weigh right now, Khamzat? What do you weigh? Come on.
You can keep it a secret if you want.
I don't know.
That is gigantic. That is a good weight for a heavyweight, let alone a middleweight that fights at 185 pounds, 84 kilos. That would be a 55-pound weight cut that he has to go through. And by the way, he didn't look fat. He looked to be in really good shape, and he's down there in Newport Beach, California, training, running on the beach every single day. The man is working out hard, but there's no talks of a title fight. In fact, I asked him, who will you be fighting? And he said, brother, I don't know.
When it comes to sharing thoughts, Michael Bisping, never shy about speaking his mind, also expressed powerful opinions on this potential Sean versus Khamzat matchup, and trust me, he's completely behind it. Bisping revealed he'd just spoken with Khamzat, and here's the shocking news. Khamzat is apparently sitting at a whopping 240 pounds right now. Bisping correctly stressed exactly what a major issue that represents for someone who usually fights at 185. Cutting that much weight isn't just difficult, it's a brutal, punishing ordeal that absolutely destroys the body. He did clarify that Khamzat isn't out of shape. Actually, he's currently training in Credo, California, looking phenomenal. But since no definite title defense is booked for Khamzat at the moment, he remains the champion without a clear next challenger. Bisping strongly argues that the top priority should remain on defending the title he currently holds rather than potentially moving up to a different weight class and causing more chaos in the middleweight division.
There certainly is some words, and Sean Strickland has beaten him before, beaten via decision. The reality is, who deserves it more? I don't know. Sean's only on a one-fight win streak, but he is a former champion. Imavov hasn't done that, right? The reality is, Chimaev has got to fight one of them. I know he's talking about going up to 205, or he's thinking about going up to 205, and making 185 from 240 pounds will be very hard, okay? But I would love to see him in there with Strickland, certainly when he says that he choked him out multiple times, and his lightweight training partner choked him out a bunch of times. And then you've got Strickland calling him a Chechen, and all this type of stuff, right? Talking a lot of shit, talking a lot of smack, not afraid to poke the bear, shall we say, right? That fight's got to happen. I want to see it, you want to see it, the whole world would love to see it, right? So I think he's got to stay at 185 pounds.
Bisping then examined the complex situation with Sean and the division's other elite fighters, particularly mentioning a dangerous talent like Nassourdine Imavov. He acknowledged that Imavov represents a truly lethal and incredibly fast opponent, a real threat to everyone in that weight class. However, he quickly highlighted the important fact that Sean Strickland had previously faced and beaten Imavov. This led Bisping to ask a direct question: who really has the stronger argument? He pointed out that while Sean now carries momentum from one major victory, an important win, he's also a former title holder, adding serious weight to his overall resume. Throughout his analysis, Bisping kept coming back to his main point, a consistent theme in his logic. Khamzat absolutely needs to fight one of the world's best middleweights, and it's obvious the Strickland fight is exactly what fans want, especially because of their clear escalating rivalry and personal animosity.
Now, but is he the contender, do you think, next for the title in your mind that could potentially have the most challenge to Khamzat out of the possible contenders right now?
Oh, it's hard to say. Like, I definitely think he has an argument now, especially because he's beaten Imavov and because of the way he put away Fluffy. But honestly, it's anybody's guess. You know, it's anybody's guess. The title fights and like contenders and that whole conversation is just so, random.
Robert Whittaker, another complete legend in the middleweight division, when asked if Sean Strickland should be Khamzat's next challenger, he surprisingly didn't shut down the concept immediately, said this former champion of elite status. That's a meaningful stamp of approval. He thinks Sean currently has a legitimate argument for such an important fight, especially after his dominant supposed win over Imavov, and particularly how he demolished his opponent in his latest outing. Those kinds of performances are the type of efforts that grab attention and earn respect. But Whitaker also understands the harsh reality that the UFC's title picture is often incredibly chaotic, almost like a lottery, and it isn't always or even usually decided purely by merit alone. Still, despite that concern, based solely on Sean's recent performances and his fighting style, Whitaker believes Sean has definitely placed himself right in the center of title contention.
I mean, I know you've been in there with Khamzat, man, and Sean Strickland's taking defense is pretty good, but we haven't seen him in there against, like, would you say Fluffy and Khamzat, it's two different levels when it comes to the grappling, would you say, like, in terms of the way, the strength, and yeah.
Absolutely night and day. Like, having been in there with Chimaev and seen, and everyone who saw what he did to Dricus, like, there's not, mate, like, it's not the same. It is not the same.
When their conversation naturally shifted to the actual mechanics of a potential fight between them, the details of how the bout would really play out, Robert Whitaker remained firm in his assessment. He admitted that Sean's takedown defense is genuinely solid, an incredible skill for dealing with most opponents. However, Whitaker stated with complete certainty that wrestling with Khamzat Chimaev is an entirely different beast altogether. It's a unique animal, a challenge that operates on a completely different plane of existence, and Whitaker speaks from deep personal experience. He has actually fought Khamzat before, having stepped into the octagon with him, so he truly knows exactly what it's like. He even specifically talked about what Khamzat did to Gilbert Burns, a vivid and intense description of Khamzat's complete dominance, and clearly stated that this simply isn't the same level of grappling, or the same kind of physical punishment Sean Strickland has ever faced during his entire career up to this point.
Chimaev and Sean Strickland should be the next middleweight title shot in the division, and I'm going to tell you why in today's video. My name is James Lynch. So Sean Strickland getting a huge win last weekend at UFC Houston in the main event, taking out Anthony Fluffy Hernandez by knockout. It was a picture-perfect performance here from Strickland, getting the third round finish, stopping Hernandez and his 8-fight win streak, and solidified himself as a contender in the weight class. And right now, at the time we're talking, there is not a fight booked yet for Khamzat Chimaev. There's been a couple rumors out there, but you heard Strickland after his fight with Fluffy Hernandez. We'll play a little snippet of it here. He talks about what he wants next when Michael Bisping asks him, and Strickland doesn't hesitate, talks about Chimaev. We're going to watch that clip here real quick.
Next, Sean. I don't know, man. Chimaev probably gets off the bench here. I'd like a piece of that little Chechen. But you never know with him, bro.
Yeah, so you can see there, he wants this fight. And then to go even further, Strickland at his media scrum before, of course, he was cut off, which I'm not a fan of, talks about how he made Chimaev quit in training. Now, I'm not usually a fan of fighters revealing things in the gym. I think that's bad practice, but this is only going to build up the...
James Lynch, a well-respected analyst in the MMA world, has been arguing from day one that the next crucial middleweight fight should absolutely be Khamzat versus Sean Strickland. He specifically highlighted Sean's completely dominant knockout victory over Anthony Hernandez, calling that performance a definitive game changer. Looking at the current divisional landscape, Lynch noted Sean successfully snapped an 8-fight win streak, a remarkable comeback, and achieving this incredible feat in an important main event, significantly boosting his profile. Additionally, and this detail is crucial, Khamzat currently has 0 fights scheduled whatsoever, leaving his championship status awkwardly in limbo. Lynch argues it's completely obvious that Sean moved quickly, calling out Khamzat immediately following his decisive victory, and since no obvious challenger awaits the current 185-pound king, everything seems perfectly aligned. Lynch then went on to examine the intriguing possibility of Khamzat potentially moving up to the 205-pound light heavyweight division, pointing out that Khamzat just recently won the title, but he hasn't gotten even one opportunity to defend it yet. Lynch's perspective, a stance shared by many purists, is that planning a jump to pursue success in another weight class, he strongly advocated keeping Khamzat firmly at 185 pounds, ensuring he stays active and proves his dominance. He noticed the obvious double standard, stressing how quickly and harshly people often criticize other champions for staying inactive, and then asked very logically, why should this be different? Following Lynch's convincing points, Brendan Schaub, another major voice, clearly stated the UFC needs to immediately book the Khamzat vs. Sean fight next. He quickly dismissed Imavov getting a title shot, reasoning Sean already beat him, and importantly, Sean Strickland remains the bigger draw, a crucial factor in the fight game. Schaub passionately argued the UFC desperately needs stars, particularly American ones, for pay-per-view sales and publicity, and this particular fight is completely ready to happen right now. He confidently predicted Sean would instantly accept the fight, observing he came out of the Hernandez fight virtually untouched, in perfect shape to quickly return. Schaub went even further, boldly predicting if Sean managed to beat Khamzat, the UFC would suddenly have a massive American, exactly who he really is. He completely shut up his critics, looked sharper and better than ever, and right now Khamzat holds the champion's throne with no clear established next opponent waiting. The storyline for this clash is already perfectly written. The hatred between these two is real and absolutely authentic. The contrast in their approaches is completely fascinating and truly meaningful in every way. Relentless striking and precise boxing against Khamzat's elite wrestling and raw power creates a compelling, legitimate test for both incredible fighters. From both a pure competitive standpoint and a smart business perspective, this fight makes perfect sense right now. If there's any waiting, the current excitement and obvious demand will definitely disappear, but if you book it immediately, it feels absolutely necessary. This crazy sport, when everything aligns with this much sense, you just can't second guess it. You make the fight and you let them enter the cage and settle it permanently. Both of these incredible athletes stand completely in their own confidence, both truly believe with every fiber of their being that they are the absolute best in the world. There's absolutely no reason to complicate this perfect setup with extra fights or unnecessary delays. Fans are desperately hungry for clarity in the middleweight division, and this specific fight delivers everything. Will Sean's relentless pressure and volume overwhelm Khamzat? And on the flip side, can Khamzat survive Sean's constant pace and aggression for a full 5 championship rounds? That people is exactly why this fight means so much. Now tell us in the comments section who you think takes this